Hi, Nancy. Welcome to your natal chart reading. And we're going to jump right into it. Hopefully, some of this information resonates with you. So, because I don't know how much you know about astrology, I'm just going to go ahead and explain what a birth chart is. So, a birth chart is pretty much just a snapshot of the planets' alignments in the sky at the time of your birth. And different planets represent different energies, and they play out in astrology in different houses, what they call houses. The houses represent different areas of life. So, for example, the first house represents your identity and your self-image. The second house represents your possessions, your value, and your self-worth, and your finances as well. The third house represents the way you communicate. It represents knowledge that you have. It represents siblings, and it represents logic. The fourth house represents your family, your roots, your security, your home, your parents. Um, the fifth house represents your pleasures. It's called the fun house. It represents your creativity, and it also represents children and pets. The sixth house represents health. It represents service, and it represents work and your daily routines. The seventh house represents marriage. It represents relationships and unions. The eighth house represents death, transformation, psychology, power, and sex. The ninth house represents philosophy, your belief systems, ethics, and foreign travels. The 10th house represents your social status, your career, and your public reputation, and also fame. The 11th house represents your friendships and your community. The 12th house represents spirituality, solitude, and self-reflection. So if you look at the circle wheel, you'll see that it is split into four different sections. Houses 1 through 3 represent the quadrant of self-awareness. Quadrant 2 houses 4 through 6 represent the second quadrant of integrating with your environment. The third quadrant houses 7 through 9 represents awareness of others. And the fourth quadrant 10 through 12 represents you integrating with the society that you're in. So everything at the bottom half of the line that goes from the ascendant to the descendant represents the eastern horizon. So everything above the eastern horizon is what can be seen. They're visible houses. And everything below the horizon are private houses and things that cannot be seen. So let's start with your ascendant or your rising sign. They're both the same thing. So you are an Aquarius rising. Aquarius is a fixed air sign. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So Saturn and Uranus are your chart rulers. So with Uranus being the coldest planet, people might think you come off intimidating when they first meet you, especially with Saturn energy as well, because Saturn is like a disciplinary, is very like strict type of energy. So people might think you come off a little disconnected or cold sometimes. Aquarius is the sign of the rebel. So you might have a bit of a rebellious nature with being an Aquarius rising. Aquariuses are intentionally different. So you probably do things just for shock value sometimes, just to see what other people would think about you doing whatever you're going to do. Aquarius are always future thinking or sometimes thinking in the past. So they're always not in the moment, pretty much, is what I'm trying to say. So they're either too much in the future or too much in the past, but they're definitely always thinking. Um, so like I said, yeah, you might have problems with staying in the present moment, and meditation will help with that. Um, People might have trouble trying to figure you out too. They might feel like they never really are able to pin down like your personality with Aquarius rising, because you're always changing your personality with Aquarius rising. Um, you also have Mars here, and Mars is all about taking action. Mars in the first could represent your physical body as well. So you are likely a very physically fit person, and you might like working out or sports. Mars energy in the first also makes you a very blunt and assertive personality. So you have Jupiter in Pisces. And Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. So Jupiter represents expansion and wisdom and optimism. Your Jupiter is squared with Saturn, and squares are challenging aspects. So that's one thing I didn't mention. So the lines that you see connected to the different houses, you see the red and the blue lines. The blue lines are considered the more easy type of aspects. They're the aspects that the universe is helping you out with. The red aspects are considered to be the more challenging aspects, and sometimes they present difficult situations that you or different obstacles that you have to get over or you have to work through. Let me not use the word get over because that's bad to say. So yeah, you have Jupiter squaring Saturn. So this could bring about you feeling like you are not able to be as optimistic. So you could struggle with um, feeling restricted by responsibilities, maybe as a child, and not able to express your creative side, or it could have impacted your self-esteem. So maybe you tried to express yourself and you were shut down, or you were given responsibilities instead of playtime in childhood. That could manifest in different ways. So, but ultimately, with Jupiter and Pisces, you're a very wise person, very knowledgeable, and lucky because Jupiter brings luck. You're also likely a very intuitive person with Pisces energy. And you're able to recognize the needs of others because Pisces is a self-sacrificing sign. So your energy is probably affected by other people. You might be like a sponge and you just soak up the energy of other people. So you have to, do things to cleanse yourself, or you probably have to spend time isolated from others to just renew and replenish your energy. And you also probably had a lot of spiritual experiences while dreaming because Pisces represent the dream world too. Um, so you could dream about the future or about future events as well. So some other aspects you have to your first house or your ascendant, you have Pluto square your ascendant. So Pluto represents transformation, death, rebirth. So you could have experienced power struggles in relationships, and you could have felt like, or you could feel like that other people try to control you with this aspect. And then you have Venus square your ascendant. So you might have a bit of self-image issues, and you could underestimate yourself. So there's definitely a need for more self-love when Venus, the planet of love, is square the ascendant, representing you. In your second house, your house of finance, your house of self-worth, your house of values, you have your North Node. Your North Node represents your life's purpose or your life's path, like what you're supposed to accomplish in this lifetime. Some people call it your soul's deepest desires. And your North Node is in the zodiac sign of Aries. So being a North Node in Aries, that automatically makes your South Node in Libra, and it's in the 8th house. So with Libra in the 8th house, Libra represents balance and harmony and partnerships, and it rules the 7th house of marriage. So with your South Node in the 8th house, this represents other people's money and resources. So you could have been depending on someone for your financial support or your financial needs and your sense of security and self-esteem. In, if you believe in past lives, South Node represents a past life, or it could have been a previous time in this lifetime, so earlier in this lifetime. So with your North Node being in Aries, Aries is all about being a leader and taking charge. And your North Node is in the second house. The second house is your finances and your self-worth and values. So this is about you taking responsibility for yourself and not relying on other people. This is about you possibly making money as an entrepreneur, because Aries energy, like I said, is all about being a leader. So, in this lifetime, you're being called to learn to set yourself apart from other people, through your independence and your self-awareness and having courage and trusting in yourself. To be more selfish, like not a lot of people get told to be more selfish, but you need to be more selfish because you're likely a very giving person. So your fourth house, representing your roots, your family, and your home, you have your moon here, and your moon is in Gemini. So the moon represents your emotions, your mother, and your inner self. So, and also your natural reactions to things. And Gemini represents duality. Gemini is a sign of the twins. So your moon is square Jupiter. So there could have been challenges with your mother, although you also have a strong emotional connection to your mother, with your moon being here in the 4th house. Also, Jupiter could represent your husband or future husband. And with Jupiter squaring your moon, your mother and your husband could have a challenging relationship at some point. And also your moon is squaring your 7th house of marriage. So more than likely, your mother would have challenges with your husband. Let's see. Your mom could have also been like very playful or childlike. You might have thought she